So let's start with the first point, which can improve our SQL performance. Unique keys improve table scan performance. Let me repeat this point. Unique keys improve table scan performance. So what we'll do is that first we'll try to understand what is a table scan. It's basically operator. So we'll first try to understand a table scan operator, and then we'll try to see how much logical reads does the table scan do without unique keys, and how much logical reads does it take for the table scan to do with unique keys. And with that we can conclude this statement that how unique keys improve table scan performance. So first let's try to understand what basically is a table scan. Now here's a simple table I have called as customers. It has three fields: customer code, customer name, and register date. Now what I'm going to do is that in this table basically I'm going to ensure that this table has no primary keys, it has no indexes, it has nothing. It's an empty table. Okay, the table has records, but in when I say empty, empty in terms of that it has no indexes, keys, or constraints or anything. Now what we'll do is that we will fire a query, a SQL query, using the customer code property. Now the customer code is unique throughout the table, so it's a unique value. But remember that it is not a primary key. We have not mentioned it as a primary key, but it's a unique value. So what I'm doing over here is that I am basically fetching a customer record using the customer code. Okay, now let's go and see what the SQL plan does it show. So hit on the plan button. Now it shows us that it's using a table scan. Now let's try to understand what basically a table scan means. Now whenever your table doesn't have any indexes, it doesn't have any kind of primary key, etc., it uses something called as a table scan operator. The table scan operator basically scans record by record the values, and finally when it gets the value, it actually takes this value and shows it to the user. So for example, over here we were trying to search by company code. So what it will do is that it will go row by row and start searching the value, and until it finds the value, it will keep this logic moving ahead. So in other words, table scan is a row by row operator. Now let's try to understand that how SQL performance is increased, or how your SQL query performance is increased in table scan by using unique keys. So what I'll do is that I'll first record the logical readings using without the unique key, and then I will record the logical readings using with the unique key. So the same SQL statement which I had shown previously, I'm utilizing the same, and I am just keeping the statistics on. So you can say that I have on the statistics using set statistics IO on, and I'm firing the SQL statement. Now let's go to messages, and you can see that the logical reading over here is 16. Now what we'll do is that let's go to the table and let's create a unique key, a primary key on the table without any indexes, and let's see if the performance increases or not. So let's go to the table and let's set this as a primary key. Now remember that when you set this as a primary key, it also creates a cluster index, which we do not want. We do not want any kind of indexes. So let me go to indexes and keys, and let me say that this is not a cluster index. So it is nothing. There are no indexes on this table. It's just the unique primary key which has been created. Okay, and now let's save this. Now let's again go back to the SQL statement, to our SQL, and let's run our query. Now remember that the logical read was 16. Now if you execute this, the logical read is now 3. That means your number of input outputs have reduced when you created a unique key on the table scan. So concluding what we discussed, unique keys improve table scan performance, and we saw that how the logical reads were decreased when we created a unique key, and how there was a huge difference in logical reads when it was without a unique key. Now let me go one step further. Any operator, that is logical operator or physical operator, when it is associated with a unique data, that means when it is associated with a unique key, always the performance increases. So it is not about just a table scan operator, it's about any operator of SQL server. The performance will increase if there are unique keys. So by default, every table should have a unique field. In case you do not have a property which has a unique field, you can probably create a simple ID field with a int data type and create it as an identity column. So that means that there is auto increment, and thereby itself there is a primary key. So every table of your project should have a primary key. In case there there are no primary keys you can create. You should always create an ID column with the identity seed on. So I hope that this point number 1 was clear and we demonstrated well over here, and let's move ahead to point number 2 in the coming up videos. Thanks a lot.